Hello and welcome to the Strategic Bookkeeper podcast. Before we get into today's episode, which is going to be really impactful for you, I do want to encourage you to register for something really exciting that I've got coming up. It is a brand new 5-part workshop series and it's called the Blueprint Path Start, Grow, Fix, Scale. Now, this is happening in early November, and if you register, you will be able to attend live or watch the recordings. I'd love you to come along live because you get to interact with me and get coaching with me. And actually, to encourage you, I am going to have a prize, which is a strategy session with me valued at $5,000, just to encourage you to come along live. However, if you register, you'll also get all the recordings. Now, the series is designed to help you plan for success in 2026 and beyond. That's why I am running it at the end of the year in early November. So whether you are a startup growing, triple B, or scaling, so that is starting out or growing, or booked but broken, I'm going to show you what it looks like to start strong, fix what's not working, and scale fast into a thriving practice with raving fan clients, plus the income and lifestyle you want and deserve. Now, if you know me, you might know what I'm known for, which is helping bookkeepers make more money and take more time off, with results that are often called record breaking because they are record breaking. So just a couple of examples. One bookkeeper, a mum very close to my heart, who turned her practice into just a nice $140,000 take home pay. Talk to me about profit, not revenue. So $140,000 take home pay, working 15 hours a week with one part-time staff member. And another story, which is a whole podcast in its own right, which was a startup that went to 200,000 revenue in a year with very low costs. This is the kind of transformation that the Blueprint Path 5-part series is all about. Now, if you would like to register and secure your spot, which I'm sure you would, the link is going to be in the show notes. And also, if you like me and you listen to podcasts when you're driving, you can go to my website when you're ready. It's www.thestrategicbookkeeper.global. So easy, just Google me, and you will find this workshop series that you can register for under Work with Me. So if you go there, you can register so that you're going to get access to this series when we are dropping it in November. I will remind you week on week until we drop it. I'd love you to do that now, so you're all set for when it drops in November. Let's jump into today's podcast where I'm going to share a recent workshop that I ran. Okay, so this one is the Bookkeeping Practice Blueprint Workshop. It went really, really well. The bookkeepers who attended got so much out of it. And so I've decided to share this podcast style today. I'll see you in there. I'm Jeannie Savage, the Strategic Bookkeeper. I've been in practice for 14 years, but more importantly, 5 years in, I achieved a lifestyle practice. This means I scaled my business, could take my hands off the wheel, and draw a nice 6-figure income while being time rich. And that's what I call my dream on my terms. I was recently awarded Women in Finance Innovator of the Year, recognizing my book, my podcast, my program, and my impact globally. The Strategic Bookkeeper is my life's work, and the opportunity to help bookkeepers globally achieve the income and lifestyle that sets them free absolutely fills my cup. Please do connect with me on socials at the Strategic Bookkeepers Way private Facebook group, or shoot me an email, hello@thestrategicbookkeeper.global. Welcome, everyone. As you come through the room, I'm trying to keep my eye on all the participants. Shout out and thank you to Joselle, again, my right and left arms, who is in the room and supports me with all of these things. And I might name it to tame it. Joselle and I were just talking about, it's a busy time right now at the Strategic Bookkeeper. I've done a 1 a.m. podcast this week, and also, life and business. You're all entrepreneurs, so you probably know that life and business are mixed. So I was just getting back to the gym after a little break. I was feeling the effects of that last night. So Forgive me if my brain is just a little bit worn out today. That said, I've also done a change up to this workshop because I do run this workshop regularly, but I like everyone to be different. So, okay, let's get cracking. Okay, just a little bit about me. I'm Jeannie Savage. I'm an award-winning bookkeeper and the founder of the Strategic Bookkeeper. I am the Strategic Bookkeeper. I've written a couple of books. I host the Strategic Bookkeeper podcast, and I run a program that helps bookkeepers start, grow, and scale. And I am multi-award winning. I am very proud of my achievements, proud to be an accomplished woman helping other women and men all around the globe. What I'm here for is to help you build a thriving practice with delighted clients and the income and lifestyle that you want and deserve, which we call my dream on my terms. So to help you the most today, the first thing I'm going to find out is how well you know me before I find out a bit more about you. So what I need to know in the chat, are you listening to my podcast? Have you read either of my books? And the reason I need to know that is because if you have read my books or listened to my podcast or you're in my program, then today's workshop is going to look and feel very different if you are green. I'm a trainer and assessor, so I aim to give you the biggest bang for your time. Giselle can drop some links into the books and the podcast. I'm going to tell you, as a busy multitasking mama, what I love to do is listen to the books audio style. Now, make no mistakes. These books will change your business and your life. And I think my tribe, anyone who's read them, will testify to that. They're game-changing. The first one, about 6 hours on an audiobook. It's on Spotify. The second one, about 4.5 hours. They're designed to use together, and my podcast content. My most successful clients, because success does leave clues, they say to me, Linda Hall, for example, and you can hear her in a recent podcast. She has done both books twice. She's listened to every podcast. She's in the program, so she's done all that as well. But she falls asleep to my content. Success leaves clues. Okay, this is written for bookkeepers in practice to succeed in practice. So the message is there. All right. I am proud that my program is now known as the world's best program for bookkeepers. If you want to know about that, I've got time to tell you at the end. But this workshop is not for that purpose. Let's keep going. So now I need to know just a little bit more about you. And I'm hoping Miss Giselle can run a poll. Let's see how we go. All right. So I just need to know which archetype you are. Really, really simple. So which one of these are you? And I'm just going to define it. So startup, no clients, dream in your heart, or you're starting today. Growing, I've got clients. You might have been in practice 5 minutes or 40 years. Yeah, Deb Stevenson, you can hear her podcast, 40 years in practice, when she joined us. But you're trying to grow, your books aren't full. Fairly simple. The busy is the next one, the triple B, book but broken. Yeah, so you booked up, but come on. I've been there. I've been every archetype. If you're booked but broken, you're overworked and underpaid. You have found all the clients and you've booked up and you've grown, but you're booked but broken. The busiest stage, and the stage that 90% of bookkeepers will get there and stay there. Today, I want to help you either fix that or avoid it. And then after this, I've got tons more stuff I can give you. We just keep in touch. I've got amazing stuff. We've got another challenge coming up a little later as well. So scaling, you must have a 6-figure take-home pay. All right, if you're scaling, you've got a 6-figure take-home pay. The business is working for you, rather than you working for the business. Busy bookkeeper knows what that's like. You've got a 6-figure income. You've got as much time off as you want. So it's easy breezy. I love my business. Raving fan clients is all working for me, okay? So just looking at the poll results, we've got lots of startups in the room. And then we've got struggling, about 20%, busy, book but broken. I feel you. I'm going to help everyone today. So I'm going to do something here because we've got so many startups in the room. This is great for everyone. This is what I'm giving you out. Would you like a little gift from me? Giselle will be like, here we go, off script. How to start a bookkeeping practice practical guide. It's coming in the chat. I was just thinking today, I often get a lot of startups. I created this for my clients recently and they loved it. And I think it will be fun. I don't think it was program specific. I looked at it and I thought, I think this will be great for everyone. So my little gift from you, there you go, how to start a bookkeeping practice. All right, let's move on. So this is so important. Can we all hold this for a moment? So 9 out of 10 bookkeepers are failing, which doesn't mean shutting up shop. I've been there, yes? It means they get to busy book but broken and they don't ever go to scaling. And beware the busy bookkeeper. So I'm busy. Sounds like I'm successful, doesn't it? No. I'll give you an example. A little while ago, I got one of those beautiful messages on my Facebook Messenger and classic detail-orientated bookkeeper. So one of my clients said, Jeannie, I just want to share with you the results that I've got a bit over a year in the program. When she joined us, I'm pretty sure she was a bit like growing or busy book but broken. And she said, now I've got my practice to a point where I'm working 15 hours a week. So that was her goal, her dream on her terms. I've got one part-time staff member and I'm able to take home, I think it was about 145,000 a year. So full-time income, part-time hours, she's a mum. She gets to prioritize herself, her children, her family, whatever hobby she's got, and the business is running beautiful. She has a thriving practice with delighted clients and her dream on her term. So she wouldn't say I'm busy. Yeah, beware the busy bookkeeper, okay? And the reason I like to sit on this just for a second is unfortunately 9 out of 10 bookkeepers think they won't be 9 out of 10 bookkeepers. And they sit stuck in busy, book but broken, and they stay there and they don't get any help because, I don't want to spend the money, I don't want to spend the time, whatever it is. All right. So now I just want to mention this analogy that everybody finds helpful. If you are a startup, you've got the opportunity to build a Ferrari. And in a second, I'll show you easy peasy. Yeah, or I should say simple. Simple doesn't mean easy. But I do notice that my startups, they completely avoid busy book but broken because I give them the blueprint. I know exactly what to do. Let's build it. Yeah, if they go a bit wrong, I pull them back in like I did Linda Hall. Please do listen to the podcast with Linda Hall because she was building a Ferrari and then she started to break it. And that's okay. She avoided busy book but broken. But when you are busy book but broken, or even if you've already got clients and I help you identify today, some things are broken. It's like you've got a car speeding down the highway that we need to fix. We can't stop the car. The wheels are spinning. You've got clients. You've got to do the work. You might have staff. Everything's happening. We can't stop and build from the scratch. We have to fix it. Okay? So if you scale, then you can upgrade from your Mercedes to a Ferrari. So just giving you these high-level concepts. So what can we do about 9 out of 10 bookkeepers failing? There's heaps we can do about that. That's why we're here today. We're going to understand what it really takes to start, grow, fix, or scale. And that is a practice that serves you and your clients. I never want to hear you say again, I'm here to serve others, unless one of those others is you. The oneness. It's okay to love and celebrate yourself as you love and celebrate others. That's all in my second book. We are one of the people we serve, Not better than, equal to. All right, so this is a brand new slide because today's workshop is going to be different to a fortnight ago. If you would like the recording from a fortnight ago, I'm sure my lovely Joselle could organize that if you email her. This is so important, and Joselle's going to give you these slides so that you can reflect on this and use it as a workbook, all right? So I want you to discover where you're at. We've done that, your archetype. I want you to learn from mistakes I made when starting, growing, and scaling. I want you to understand the difference between growing and scaling and why most bookkeepers get stuck growing without scaling. That's very different. I haven't covered that off in one of these workshops yet. I want you to then identify based on your archetype where your focus should be on the blueprint. That has been game-changing for the results I get with my clients. It is different for everyone. I want you to, number 5, walk away with stop doing, start doing. I want us to look very black and white and binary. Our brains work well with that, bookkeepers. Don't do, do. I want you to have 3 things that you tell me at the end of this workshop I'm going to do. Now, they can be simply, Jeannie, I'm going to read your first book and your second book. I'm going to listen to the podcast. It can be that simple. Whereas for Michelle, for example, that's in my program, she's been there for just a short time, but her actions would be different. Number 6, know how to use this workshop. So after this workshop, listen to it podcast style 5 times if you want, while you're driving in the car, at the gym, folding the washing, pretending to listen to your spouse, whatever it is. Rinse and repeat. Okay, my slides are a guide. I don't just go linear. The other thing I wanted to mention is that I have already mentioned, but I am going to do this a little bit differently. So the way that I'm going to run this today is through storytelling. I'm going to help you through sharing my story. Okay, I've been every archetype. So this is me at the beginning of my journey. Goodness gracious, that must be 16 years ago. And so why did I start my practice? Why did you start yours? I'd love for you to tell me in the chat. So I wanted flexibility around being a mum, quite obviously from the photo, but I also wanted to be rewarded financially for my impact rather than my hours. Can you relate? Are you like, oh my goodness, same with me, or totally different? Yeah. In the middle was my first headshot, photoshopped to within an inch of my life because I had just had my baby. I was in the yard. My sister took that photo, and progress over perfection, right? And then this one here with my little boy outside the valley as well. So this is me in startup growing mode. We've changed the name of struggling to growing. So startup, growing, and the busy bookkeeper is where I landed in the first few years, okay? Catherine, yes, took the words out of my mouth. Time, freedom, and impact. Right? Money for impact, not money for hours. This was startup, growing, hustling, not much strategy, busy book but broken, scratching my head, saying, I'm busy. Yeah, wondering why revenue's going up but profit not so much. This is me scaling. So it was about 5 years in, I nailed it. And then in that 6th year, everything worked. By about 2016, I had scaled. I had a beautiful 6-figure income. My net profit doubled between 15 and 16. So by 17, I kind of had that beautiful 6-figure income, and the business was scaled. The staff could kind of do what they needed to do. And I actually took a massive sabbatical. I'd gone through divorce. I have a special needs child. He was hard. He is 15 now, my beautiful little guy. It was really hard. Yeah, he still today does not go on a regular campus. He goes to school from home. He's a lot easier, but emotional regulation has never been his friend. If you've got one of these, please let me know. But this is me as a scaled bookkeeper, my dream on my terms. What did it mean to me? Well, it meant surviving and thriving. It meant that after divorce and special needs child and everything, I was able to prioritize my own physical, mental, and spiritual health. Learn to put myself first. Yeah. Taking time off, taking care of myself, showing up as my best self for the people I love rather than my worst self. Because going through all that personal stuff, I was on cortisone, antibiotics. I was sick. I'm lucky I survived. Okay. Adam, why did I start my practice? To assist others and to choose who to work with. Also freedom. A lot of us have freedom. Fantastic. Okay. And this is what I call my industry recognition. So these days I help others. There's my crazy bunch. Both kids are neurodiverse. My partner and I, both the same age. It's kind of hilarious. There's at the zero function. So here's how I'm going to help you today. I'm going to use the 5 big keys and the blueprint to help you primarily. So we'll just start here. So what I want to do is mention a few mistakes I want to see if you relate to, and I want you to avoid them. So when I started out in practice, we got so many startups in the room. So see if you're thinking the same way. I thought that the 2 most important things were my technical ability, right? So yes, I need to be technical skilled, and that's important. All these things are important. I need to find clients, yeah, and then I need to grow. So in the chat, can you relate to that? I need technical skill, I need to find clients, I need to grow. And I thought that's what you do to be successful. You grow your business, yeah? but we don't want to grow. We want to scale. So let's go into that now. The difference between growing and scaling, and I want to help you now today, very important, the do and the don't. Why do 90% of businesses generally go broke? Because they don't have this education. Yeah. And what you need to be successful are these big 5 keys. I use them every day, right? You're going to need the team. I'm on your team today. Well done. You put me on the team. You're going to need to learn. Yeah. If you do these, you have a far greater chance of being successful. If you don't do these, you will likely be a failure statistic. Okay. So you are going to need people to help you. You can't win the game without a winning team. I cannot stress that enough. And some people you'll pay, some people you won't. But you need to find the right people, the right thought leaders. So when you read my books and you listen to my podcast, make no mistake, you have put me on your team, okay? Next thing, you're going to need to learn. And today, right now, you're learning, okay, I don't need to grow. Don't do that. I want to scale. Great. Jeannie's going to educate me on what scaling means. Then you are going to need to build out the assets, yeah? So those assets I'm going to run through today. That's a brand, brochure, social media, website, video sales letter, product and pricing ecosystem, and so on. So you're going to need to build those out. And that's what you need some team for. Yeah. You're going to need a graphic designer, a website designer, etc. I will mention in my program, it is a done for you. So most of this is done for you. Okay. But there's lots of information on my program online, so you can find out about that. But it's handy to know. And I explain that in my books as well. Okay. But you're going to need team. After you learn and build, you're going to need to implement it all in the wild, in the real world. For example, when you listen to the podcast with Linda Hall, Linda did this, right? But when she went out to implement, did she get it right the first time? No, she got things wrong. I'll even tell you specifically what she got wrong. When she rang me one day and she said, Jeannie, I'm doing proposals, but they're not converting. So just down here in conversion process, just an example of implementation, which is learn, do, mastery, right? Failure is actually refining. So how she failed, she refined and then got to $200,000 in her first year. I said, okay, are you selling the file health check in the conversion process? No, I'm not. Okay, we need to do that. Are you doing the video sales letter? No, I'm not. So when we talk about implementation, that's what you need to do. You need to go out, do it, get it wrong, get some support, direction, and then get it right. So then she did those and she said, oh, it's all working now. There were other things too. Financial management, she was making mistakes there. So I pulled her up on that. I'm okay with being that person. It's not about getting it right straight out of the gate, okay? It's about implementing, figuring out what you're getting right and what you might be getting wrong, fixing it and trying again. Exactly, Sophie. Fail, first attempt is learning. My goodness, like how many failures I've had. Okay, so just going back to those 5 big keys before I explain scaling in the scope of the Bookkeeping Practice Blueprint. So support. I came up with something yesterday and it is, I'd really like you to surround yourself with a mastermind, not a master mess. And we've got tribe members in the room today. Mastermind groups are talked about in Think and Grow Rich, which is Napoleon Hill's book. So let's say you're in our tribe Facebook group, you're surrounded by masterminds, like people who are having a lot of success. Yeah, the best of my students will go on to be coaches. We've just transitioned one through to be a coach for the busy bookkeeper because the book but broken is the hardest stage. Whereas if you're in a forum with 10,000 bookkeepers who are busy book but broken, be careful not to learn from them, okay? So try and get yourself a good mastermind group. Now, questions or comments, please just drop them in the chat. If you are unsure of anything that I'm talking about, it's okay to call it out. So this is the Bookkeeping Practice Blueprint 1-pager. Let's go into scaling versus growing. Okay, ultimately, to grow is to grow your revenue primarily. So it's like, I'll grow my revenue, I'll bring on clients, and that will all work out. Growing isn't usually with a real plan. Okay. So when you listen to episode 74 of my podcast, which I recommend you actually do straight after this. Yeah. It's pretty quick, pretty easy. It's called Plan for Success. All right. And then you can ask yourself, gosh, did I ever do that? Because I didn't do this at the start. So when you plan, you're going to understand how to create the income that you want and also the time off that you want. I give you napkin numbers, really easy formula for planning. So growing versus scaling. Growing is generally bring on new clients, grow my revenue. It'll all work out in the end, and it lacks the strategy. And unfortunately, even though it seems logical, what happened to me and what happens to 90% of bookkeepers is the revenue absolutely does go up, and you have to employ staff to do some of the work because you're growing. What happens is that when you take into account the costs, the profitability is just not where it should be. You'd be better in a job because you lack the financial management and all the other things. When you're growing and you end up in this situation, you lack the moving parts of this blueprint. So in order to scale, what we would do is from the get-go, we would understand what we're working for. That's a basic plan. I mean a one-pager. I mean a plan that takes you an hour, okay? So for example, my goal in the first 12 months, say Linda Hall, for example, I want $200,000 worth of revenue. Let's say I allow for 33% to be cost of sales. This is scaling where we actually plan this stuff out. So your cost of sales should absolutely be no more than 33%. For most bookkeepers, they're 50 or 60%. That's growing, busy, not scaling. So let's say my plan is I want 200,000 in revenue. How many clients do I need to bring on to create that revenue? Well, you can only figure that out when you've got a products and pricing ecosystem. I'll explain a bit more of this in a second. With the products and pricing ecosystem, because today I'm going to try and focus on stories to help you. And then I'm looking at what, why, how. Okay. So we know what and we know why. So why we're going to scale and do these things is to create a high profit with time off, a business, a real business that works without you, that works for you, rather than a business where you're overworked and underpaid, okay? But how do we do these things? Well, I've just told you how to plan, episode 74. How do you develop products and pricing? My second book, my goodness, what I give you in there, phenomenal. So I give you the complete rules of the game so that you can go back and say, okay, well, 10 clients on average should give me about $100,000 revenue. You'll hear that in episode 74, 75, 76, 77. I want you to listen to those 4 episodes. So remember, we're looking at what, why, how. Some of the how, I'm going to give you the direction to go and listen to more of my content because we can't do everything in an hour today, okay? So again, let's look at grow versus scale. You guys all know you need to scale now. Most bookkeepers will bring on like 30 clients or 20 or double that amount of clients to get to $100,000 revenue. And because they've got broken products and pricing, like a lack of strategy, then the profitability will be low. The clients won't be raving fans. There'll be fires to put out. The costs will be high, et cetera, et cetera. So when you have that plan and I say, I need 20 clients, for example, to build that $200,000 revenue on average. Linda Hall, when you hear her story, is a great example of this. Remember I told you about her mistakes a second ago? She's so calm now. You'll listen to that podcast in the calm. I've worked with Linda through the not calm. Her ability to take a prospective client to become a client and buy advisory from her from the get-go every time. So turn a client into a high-value, high-paying, raving fan in just lightning speed. Yeah, so that's what you need to do. The next thing to bear in mind, so we know that you need a plan so that you know what you're doing. And then, for example, you know that the financial management, your cost of sales should be 33% or less, and so on. Growing focuses on revenue. Scaling focuses on net profit. Okay. growing isn't really plan-led, it's more revenue-led. Scaling is a plan. Scaling is a strategy focusing on net profit. To truly scale a business, remember those photos I showed you, is to create a business that works without you. So I'm a bookkeeper in practice. I still have a bookkeeping practice. Yeah, it just gives me a nice little 6-figure income, but I don't work in it. That's a scaled practice. Yeah. I jumped into a workshop for it yesterday because I hardly ever get to be in there. I was like, oh my goodness, heaps of my clients are in there. We had a lunchtime workshop that one of our partners was running. See over here in audience. So one of our evergreen advocacy partners. So before I move on, what would be helpful for me? Anything you can pop in the chat box to tell me how this is landing, right? Comments, questions, suggestions. It might be, I heard that before. I've never heard that before. Goodness gracious, I was going to grow, or I've been growing. Now I'm starting to understand scaling. Yeah. Anything that helps me with how this is landing. Sophie, I've never heard of it. Fantastic. It just honestly, whenever you get this information, you're at a fork in the road and it's like change direction. So what I tend to say, I say this to my clients, you were heading in a direction that you didn't know. It's like you've taken a wrong turn in a car and you were heading for Paynesville. And now it's like, whoa, someone just told me you're going the wrong way. Good, you got to go that way. And now you're heading for success. And business is like that. And my job as a coach is to give you direction and redirection, just like I did with Linda. Okay, great. Let's have a look. I have reset my thinking. Great, Adam. And at the right stage, being a startup. Stephanie, new to me as well. Okay, so Sandra, what are some challenges with scaling? To answer that question, on the blueprint, remembering that all of this is explained in detail in my second book called The Bookkeeping Practice Blueprint. Okay, so you've got lots of stuff to do after this as well, where you can continue your education. Sandra, I would love to now, as promised, explain where your focus should be depending on what archetype you are, because that kind of talks about the challenges. All right. So if you are a startup, then your focus should be on the left-hand side of this blueprint. This dazzles and delights me still to this day. And Rachel says, I'm growing, but I need to scale better. Yes, we're changing direction. I'm excited. Okay. So for example, if you're a startup, let's look at this left-hand side and let's look at where I say, before you answer the door to a prospect, nail the left-hand side. That way you'll avoid building busy rather than thriving. Yeah. So if you're a startup, and I'll explain this in a minute, your focus needs to be here because you need to find new clients. Now, a story to illustrate the difference between when you nail this and when you don't. So I didn't nail this at the beginning, and Mark Wickersham and I were laughing because neither of us did. And we were all hustle, and he built Busy Book for Broken like I did. So Taryn, one of my clients, just for example. So she was a startup. She came in, she had one client. She was like, Jeannie, the pain when I did one client wrong. I'm like, I know, right? So then she quickly nailed this. In my program, you do this in 14 days. Yeah. You can absolutely use my books to build it yourself. It's just you have to do it all yourself versus done for you in the program. Okay. But Taryn came in and she nailed all this. And then she had a prospective client and we got together. And because she had all her products and pricing in place, she had her conversion process in place and all of this. So someone knocked on the door and they said, we need help. She identified they needed some catch-up education work and so on. So I want you to ask yourself for a moment, if somebody knocked on the door and they said, I need help, what's the first thing you would do? Yeah? So the first thing you should do is a needs analysis. What's the first question you'd ask? What do you need? Never ask that question again. That is a recipe for what do you cost. So I'm going to tell you right now, what you need to ask someone, first question in a needs analysis is, tell me about yourself. Make no mistake that marketing and selling is psychology. I'll say it again, marketing and selling is psychology. If there is one thing you take away from this workshop, let it be that. The question you ask is tell me about yourself. So then what's the first thing that you sell them or propose? Because it should be, remember we're going to look at the do's and don'ts. When we talk about the biggest challenge to scaling is this, not having the team, not having the right knowledge. When you think the wrong way, you act the wrong way. learn from me, right? I did that. So this is the challenge. If you don't have the right people, the right education, the right assets, and you implement it correctly, and then you can get support along the way, that is the biggest challenge. But let's just break it up a bit more. So do's and don'ts. The first thing you need to sell is a file health check. I explained that in my first book and my second book. So Taryn did that. And then you need to do your conversion process with a video sales letter and sell the benefits, not just the features. Bookkeepers sell the features. Your bookkeeping is a feature. The benefit is lowering stress, doing better in business, and so on. So I know this is high level, but the books do go into it more. So if you're a startup, your focus should be on stop everything you're doing. Do not bring on one client before you nail this left-hand side, okay? So Taryn, example, we got in a room together and she said, okay, well, this is all about the client and this is all the problems they told me they're having when I said, tell me about yourself, right? And I said, okay. So she proposed $10,000 worth of services and she sold recruitment to a recruitment agent. So see here, incorporating advisory. I teach you in the program how you can do that, right? And I ran a recruitment masterclass. But just thinking about when you don't have this nailed versus when you do have this nailed, as a startup and a growing, and anyone who wants to find new clients, if you are busy, booked but broken, you do not need more clients. You need to fix what's broken. But as a startup or a growing, okay, you need to find some new clients and you need to upgrade your existing clients if you're growing and scaling. But hear this, as a startup or a growing, and everyone kind of needs to do this, you need to be able to fill up a pipeline of pre-sold prospects ready to buy from you, irrespective of price. And a scaling practice is doing that. When you're growing, you tend to just win the work, do the work, win the work, do the work. So over at my practice, for example, right, I don't get much time to do anything there. My right hand is a coach at the Strategic Bookkeeper as well. But we still get inquiries come through, new inquiries, because we have a pipeline, because we've set the blueprint up with all this beautiful automation and so on, so that the marketing is happening in the background with more ease. In my first book, there is a brand building playbook. The foundation of that is your brand, because that's how you connect with your audience and explain the benefit of what you do. Nobody buys bookkeeping. That's like a long haul flight. Okay, I'm going to the Maldives in about a week. Goodness, I need that break. Do you think I'm excited about the long haul flight? No, but I paid good money for it. In fact, the long haul flight's going to be terrible. I'm in economy. Yeah, it's going to be horrendous. But I had to pay a lot of money for that. That's what the bookkeeping is. Maldives is what you want to sell, a top 10 resort destination in the world. Yes, my books are available everywhere, all over the world. I just recommend the audiobooks if you're like me, but you can get them on Amazon, Booktopia, I think 100 bookstores, even Costco. So as a startup, you need to get the brand right. You need to build your $1 million storybook brochure, your social media, your website. You need to hit the mark. The only way you'll hit the mark with these brand assets is with a clear strategic brand. So if you're growing, have you done any of this? Probably not, because just like me, growing tends to lack a strategy and a plan. We just grow and it's all going to work out. No, okay? Then we need to also build that video sales ladder, the products and pricing ecosystem, the product ladder, all explained in my book. So when you nail this, just like Taryn, what would have happened before when that person knocked on the door? Well, if she managed to convert them at all, she might have sold them $1,000 worth of products, not 10,000. That story is actually a podcast. So now I just want to check in on what I wanted for you today so we can make sure we got most of this across the line, knowing that you've got lots that you can go on with after this, okay? So we know our archetype. We know the mistakes I made. So I thought my technical skill, I thought find new clients, I thought grow. Now I know, and this is why I built the blueprint. So how did I find my success? You're looking at it. I want you to know what you need to do after this. because you can use all my collateral to do it. Yeah. You can also work with me, but start with my books and my podcast. So in order to learn and install the blueprint, you need to, put me on the team. You're going to need to consider this top 10, and we'll give you these slides. Then you're going to need to learn, build, implement. So learn from the mistakes I made, understand the difference between growing and scaling. Scaling is a focus on profit with a plan. Growing is a focus on revenue that lacks a strategic plan, particularly products and pricing. Now, while everybody should nail the left-hand side of the blueprint, the growing bookkeeper, if you identify my products and pricing are broken, for example, when a prospect knocks on the door, I say, what do you need? And I bundle that up with a fee attached, hourly or not, and I give them features, and then I say, here you go. Yeah, that's broken. If you don't have minimum monthly job charges, if you're doing any quarterly work, if you don't have minimum one-off job charges, if you don't have a pricing calculator, if you can't sell advisory from the get-go, this is broken, okay? So you need to stop and fix what's broken. So how do you do that? Use my books, use my podcast. We do have a pricing academy that you can buy. Join my program. Your choice, one or the other. It's about team and education first, okay? So if you're growing, you need to do exactly what the startup does, nail this, but you also need to fix what's broken, and that usually includes financial management. So if you're not job costing, if you've got staff you can't afford, if your cost of sales are more than 33%, the financial management's broken, and I go into that in my second book. Now, the busy, booked but broken, I don't want you to focus on nailing the left-hand side first. You're already booked up. I want you to focus on fixing the products and pricing and repackaging your legacy clients. Just reach out to me for more help with that. Use my content. If you feel like you need more, just say, Jeannie, I need more. I send audio clips and things like that. So the financial management products and pricing narrowly do that. Jen Vanderwell, our busy bookkeeper coach now, she did that. And she doubled her net profits, and she's got a scaled practice now, and she's one of my coaches. So if you're a scaling bookkeeper, I want to be clear that your opportunity that exists is advisory and standard operating procedures. So I'll use one of my bookkeepers, Karen, as an example. She has got a great practice, more than 10 staff. She's scaling, she's making great money. So why did she join my program? Well, we know we can probably double her net profit, mainly through efficiency, which is standard operating procedures, and advisory, squeezing more juice out of the orange. Advisory is solving more problems for your clients, by doing more things for them, and you can usually charge a lot more for that. I give you a lot of help with that in my first book, because I want to make sure that you understand your key area of focus for your archetype. I don't have appointments after this, so I can hang around for questions. I'd love to know, do you understand what you should stop doing and what you should start doing? Okay. Stop answering the door to prospects and selling them low value stuff with broken products and pricing. Stop focusing on growing your revenue. Start getting strategic, putting a plan in place and building a profitable practice that is scaled and gives you time off. And then the last one was, know that you can use this podcast style, just like when you watch a movie and you're like, I didn't see that the first time. Okay. So now in this last few minutes, can I please take questions, comments, suggestions? If anyone is desperate to know all about my transformation program, I have got slides, but I only do that on request. These workshops are generally to educate you, to get you to go away and start or continue that journey with my content. But if you are like, no, I want to hang around, I want you to tell me all about it, I do it on demand only. The last one, I didn't do it at all. The one before that, everybody wanted to know about it. So this is for you to decide. So questions and comments and suggestions, please let me know in the chat box. Oh, the other thing we wanted, what are the 3 things you are going to do and any key takeaways from today's workshop? As a trainer and assessor, I will always push you to action. Okay. The 3 things you're going to do after this workshop, if you've got any past clients that you would like to work with again, I'd love you to pick 2 and send a text message today. I call it manners marketing. So it would say something like, hi, Sally, I was just thinking of you. I thought I'd check in just to see if you're keeping up to date with the books. If you've fallen behind, if you feel like you need a hand, don't be a stranger. Please reach out. I get bookkeepers do that and they're like, I got a new client. Yeah. So that is smart scaling. That is keeping in touch. That is leveraging the diamonds at your feet. Scale, scale, scale. And scaling is honestly learning and installing the blueprint, okay, to create a business that works for you rather than you working for the business and looking for the reverse pedal. All right, let me have a look at the chat here. So you're going to listen to the podcast, get the books, fantastic. Remember, they're on Spotify, they're audiobooks too. Podcast 74, 75, 76, 77, they are gold. My goodness, okay? I don't even mind if you listen to those first before you do episode 1. But I've given you so much phenomenal content to use. A lot of bookkeepers that join my program have done all my podcasts, both my books, by the time they come to me, and then they're primed to learn. Now, on request, let me go back in the chat. So I've got someone asked me to show you through the program. If you want or need to know about the program, I'm going to pivot across to those slides and I'll run through that now. All right, here we go. Goodness, the program. It's always a challenge to explain the program. It's a lot. It's a bookkeeping practice in a box. So when I think about explaining the program, actually, I said to myself, all right, what would I have wanted to know? So that's kind of how I lead it for you. Let's see what I would have wanted to know. It is about building a thriving practice, delighting your clients, and living your dream on your term. I do want to let you know why I built it. So it's to help women build true financial independence and to learn to put themselves first, not your kids first, but you, to prioritize your physical, mental, and spiritual health. And it brings tears to my eyes that I get to do that every day of the week. So if that's the destination that I want you to arrive at, financial independence, so you get to choose your own adventure. You don't get stuck in a circumstance. Anyone been there? Yeah. I once heard a woman say, or probably many times, I can't leave my husband because financially I can't afford to. And I don't want that. You choose. I don't want you stuck. Okay. How? So how do I get you there? Well, that's the transformation program. Yeah. We work on the 5 big keys. And this is my 7-ingredient recipe from my first book. And it's really the blueprint that we're nailing. So the program looks a little bit different depending on where you're at. If you're a startup, we lead you in through the startup archetype, struggling, booked, etc. So we just make sure we help you and remind you every day to focus on where you're at. And then you graduate, right? So you graduate from startup. This one should say growing. I used to call it struggling, but it's more just growing, yeah? So we graduate you. So I might be in a coaching session, and it happened recently. It was really lovely. And I said to one of my tribe members, we were doing some coaching. It was great. And then at the end, I said, now, I just want to let you know, you've graduated to scaling. Could you please go and do the scaling archetype induction and shift your focus? And she was like, oh my goodness, it's really exciting, right? So we graduate you and then we get you to reset your focus. And that is really, really important, okay? Now, I would have wanted to know time, money, what do I get? So in terms of time, a couple of things I want to mention with time is the fast tracking, okay? I'm a data and science girl, so I like to talk real data. The program does really fast track your results 10 years. And that is evident when you listen to people like Linda Hall. When you hear Adam say, oh, I just nailed the left-hand side of the blueprint in a week, that's mind-blowing. It took me 10 years to nail that. Yeah, the final iteration was born 13 years on. Yeah, my next hire is a network brand manager because you're joining a network with a network brand. Yeah, so 10 years of fast tracking. So that's not a number I plucked out of the sky. And then whatever time you can put into the program is what you need to give me. It's not a race to the finish line, okay? So if you can give me some time to learn and implement, that is ideal. Absolutely, you're going to have to give me hours and attitude. Yeah, as much as you can give me, put in. But ultimately, this is about learning and implementing on the job, okay? So you are joining the Strategic Bookkeeper Network. It is a licensed membership program. It's like a bookkeeping practice in a box. So we've done the brochure, we've done the social media. We help you with how you take your brand. Like, let's say you are ABC Strategic, or you are, I'll give you Precisely Profit. That's Linda's brand. So Precisely Profit. Then we help you with how you integrate your brand and use the network brand. But we elevate your competitive advantage because you're a certified strategic bookkeeper. So the brochure, you've got our unique selling proposition becomes licensed to you to use, etc. Okay. So immediate competitive advantage, stand out and scale up, like Taryn, the $10,000 sale. We have a lot of our tribe members feature on our podcast, including a success panel. Joselle might drop that one in. There's nothing like hearing from people. One of the things that I did in a recent episode is I said you could go into, say, a bookkeeper forum like Bookkeeper Support Group Australia, and you can literally ask. I think Catherine did that. And then you can get feedback from people in my program, and based on that, she joined. Okay. So this is where we're working. So what you see on the blueprint, it's either done for you or done with you. So next thing, you are recruiting a 100K team when you join us. It's easier to say what you don't get right now than what you do get. Then you're going to get an academy where you learn. We have built the assets for you. We have weekly coaching every Tuesday with me, every second Wednesday with Joe McMahon, every Friday with Jen. And then I run additional masterclasses as I see fit. So this is a visual representation of the team behind the scenes. So we give you the marketing copy, right? We give you everything you need so that you're just plugging it in and playing it. Hence the 10-year fast tracking. So education, we also, thank you, Joselle. Once again, let's all show gratitude for Joselle, because every time we run an implementation coaching session, Joselle turns it into a private podcast so you can listen in your native podcast app. So what I want to do is remove the barrier to getting it done. So the user experience in the podcast app is amazing, right? On demand, we did that. So you're constantly educating yourself audio style. I want you to be able to habit stack. So for example, I'm driving in the car, but I'm also learning what I need to know. I'm at the gym, but I'm also learning what I need to know. Everything I do. So basically you're going to get the big vault of assets. So done for you brochure, social media, done for you brand. We give you the vision, the mission. You know, it took me 13 years to refine and nail. A brand is hard to nail. So your brand is your organization personality. So you'll get our value proposition. You'll get how we overcome objections, some kind of secret stuff in there, which is why I don't widely show everything. I'm going to whiz through this a bit just so that I don't take up your time. You can always come back to me later and ask questions. So in coaching, I feel like we already talked about that. We're holding your hand every step of the way. It is a very impactful part of what we do, because that's where we're helping you implement. Think about Linda when she said, oh, I'm not converting. And I'm like, okay, are you doing these things? No, that's okay. Go do them. Can you let me know if that works? It worked. Fantastic. Off we go. So the coaching is about implementing what you are, learning and building. Okay. And then you're in the tribe. The tribe's amazing. Yeah. You're in that private Facebook group. We're having Tribe Live here on the Gold Coast. The tribe is there for you. You are using the tribe and HQ the way that you want to. Okay. So you are in there saying, who wants to catch up in a Zoom room to talk about a systems audit? Right. The power of the tribe cannot be understated. It's amazing. Yeah. So these are kind of like the 5 elements, that 5 big keys. It is AI powered now. I just did a podcast with Mark Wickersham, and Mark was, jaw open at what we were doing in this space. We have AI powered the program. So we're constantly using AI, but also teaching you how you can now take what we've given you and use AI to enhance it even more. This is like a competitive analysis. Nobody touches us. We are the world's best, okay, for value and affordability, for the done for you, for the brand marketing and selling detail, because that is something that made me very angry about other programs and coaches when they say, here you go, and if it doesn't work, it's you, not us, okay? They don't give you the detail like we do. And record-breaking results, seriously. This is why we are the world's best compared to franchises, other coaches, licensed systems, and other programs. Yeah. And especially for that's right, affordability. So we are $99 a week for a year, and then 55% of our participants stay with us, and we have past clients come back. Yeah. Massive satisfaction rate. So it's about $5,000 US for the year, but we do have a payment plan because I work with bookkeepers. Yeah. Women and men that need the program to pay for itself week on week. I was one of them at the beginning. So I'm doing everything that I needed myself for you. So that's why I do a payment plan as well. This is the value of the program. I'm such a bookkeeper, $271,500. Now, this is what you get. And the only way I can give you this is it's a one-to-many program. So I need about 100 bookkeepers in there for me to give you this. It is a bookkeeping practice in a box. If you want to go and do it yourself, this is what you're going to spend. It's black and white. Okay. So you get my team behind the scenes. So you've recruited a marketing and management team. We're doing it all for you. Then I give you the education, the pricing academy in its own right, the advisory system, the done for you standard operating procedures. Someone said the other day, they was speaking to me on my phone. They said, look, I'm assuming you don't give us done for you standard operating procedures. Yeah. The only thing we don't give you at this stage is a done for you website, but we give you the entire template and hook you up with the person to do it. So how you recruit and manage team, all the brand marketing and selling assets, the coaching implementation, the AI powered, the not licensed network and team. We pitch you fortnightly in a podcast. We show you how to send that to your network. So I can only do that because it's a one-to-many in a micro niche. All right. I couldn't deliver that kind of value one-to-one. I wouldn't be making any money. I need to put food on my table too. Okay. So I've already gone through the fee. We do offer it in Australian dollars, New Zealand dollars, UK pounds, Canadian dollars, US dollars. But that's kind of what it would be in US dollars because we have clients all over the world. Results are massive and I'm constantly working for results. That is my North Star, right? And I'm proud to say I get Facebook messages from my clients from time to time in tears at the results because they have got my North Star, financial independence, and they're well and they're putting themselves first. So you can visit our testimonials page. Apologies, it's not quite as good as it should be. I'm working to get every testimonial up there in our new website. Check out our success panel. Check out Linda Hall. Karen Thompson's on there. She went from living out of her savings to 6 figures with a 3-month wait list. The results are outstanding. How do you get the result? Do exactly what I ask you to do and don't go rogue on me. And as I said, past clients come back and that's a big testament. I love it when they come back and they say, Jeannie, can I come back? I'm like, just come back. We'll figure it out as we go. Okay. No soldier left behind. And it's not uncommon for bookkeepers to tell me that the whole program pays for itself within a week or a month. One of our recent participants, when I see them post in the Facebook group, she's so coachable and she went from charging $60 an hour. She came in, grabbed our pricing strategy. Someone knocked on the door and she charged 5 times the amount. And I was like, let's sit on that for a minute. So that was half the program was paid for if we look at the annual value of that client in one action. So it's not unusual because what does it cost you to get the return on investment? 1 new client, 1 upgrade, something like that, 1 or 2, pretty easy. That's why I give you a money back guarantee, okay? So knowing all this, why wouldn't you join us? Well, it's usually fear. What if I make another bad decision? Shame tapping you on the shoulder. Money, I don't want to spend that money. It's ridiculous. It has a full money back guarantee, okay? And there's a trial version. Like if literally you're like, well, I just want to try before I buy. It's $396. You've got 4 weeks to try it. If you don't like it, off you go. We don't refund on the trial. Okay, so your risk is $396. Most people in the trial 2 days in say I'm all in because the only thing we don't give you in the trial is the Canva asset. So for example, you will see the $1 Million Storybook brochure, but we don't give you the actual asset to go creating it. Yeah. So the trial is there. You can do a 30-day trial. There's a pay up front. I think about 80% of our clients use the weekly payment plan that is for a commitment of a year. Okay. So once you're all in, either beyond the trial, now after a year, If you have not been able to make or save more than the program cost, which as you've heard, most people 10, 20 exit, my thing in my heart is I would like you to make 10 times what you spend. That's my thing. But if you can't make or save more, there's the money back guarantee. Easy. I do like to mention after year one. So this is a license membership program. So when you come in and you use our license collateral, like the Certified Strategic Bookkeeper badge, or you're using a $1 Million Storybook Workshop. Now, after year one, we've got options so that you can stay licensed to use that collateral. Almost all of our members are staying in on the gold, which is they just keep everything they've got because they see the value, right? The value is amazing. If you want to opt out, you just build your own brochure. You just don't use our collateral. If you want to stay in with the license, but you don't want some other stuff, you can also get that from $23 a week US. Okay, Sandra, what kind of educational background do bookkeepers in Canada typically have? Oh, okay. So yes, because it's different in every country. As long as you have got the skills and experience required to be a technical bookkeeper, so you can deliver the bookkeeping and any license that's required in Canada, then you are fine. But I don't know specifically country by country. I do know Australia because I'm here, but I'm not sure. Like I was just looking at New Zealand for someone. I serve technically skilled bookkeepers with how to run their practice end to end, win the work, do the work. And then for our startups who tend to have gaps in their knowledge, we connect them with seniors and systems and support just to help them with the gaps in that knowledge. So that's kind of how I'd answer that. So if you've got more questions on that, let me know. Yeah, that was about it. So that is the program in a nutshell. Questions, comments, suggestions, I'll take them now. Thank you so much, Danielle. That means a lot to me. I'm really happy with how today's workshop went. And just remember, we've got tons of support in the background. My program is what I call the high ticket, high touch. It's like the holy grail, the ultimate, right? And it's always great to get started with the books and the podcast. We've got a starter membership as well. It's $59 US. I don't talk about it a lot, but it's a great place to start. One of my past clients even went and bought that recently because she just wanted more content while she wasn't inside the program. And then she said she'll be joining up again soon. Okay, Catherine, what do you think about signing up for technical support as well when someone has decades of accounting, employed experience, and also, what do you mean, Catherine? Feel free to come off mute.
Just following up on like that podcast that I think you did with Kelly.
Yes.
She's got that Bookkeeper Association. Is there anything, she's got like the month-to-month support thing for AP, AR, how bookkeepers would do things and stuff like that. Do you suggest doing that as well? I'm just like concerned with coming from an employed background, working with small to medium-sized companies of everything, and then into bookkeeping. Will I need that? I just want to be able to access it just in case I need it when I'm, working with a client.
Yeah, I would check in with Kelly to see if there's any, like if it's only a month-to-month commitment, I think it can be worth trying. Thinking back to the beginning of my journey, and also when we were working with the startups recently, one of the hardest things is the nerves around technical skill. I absolutely think that before you're a veteran bookkeeper, you need to be investing, especially that first year, you need to be investing in your skill. But I also think, for me personally, I think one of the best ways to get upskilled is what we talk about in the program. So let's say we get you to go out and win that catch-up rectification, for example, work, paying a senior like Joe McMahon, Jen Vanderwaal, Kelly Berger to actually train you on the job. Because on the job learning, nothing beats that. Like continued professional education generally, with Kelly, with the Australian Bookkeeper Network, Bookkeeper Radio. If you're not in that, it's amazing. You can get that as a member, or you can listen live if you're not a member. CPE is really important, but that on-the-job learning on catch-up rectification, to me, nothing compares to that. I wish I had that at the beginning. But I think Kelly's membership, if it's not a 12-month commitment, if it's month to month, it gives you a chance to try it and definitely commit, like a certain amount of time every week to that CPE.
Yeah, because I've gone through like the catch-up work that's in the tribe and like all the advisory stuff. So I've done all that with my work, like with my bookkeeping roles and with company roles. So all the catch-up and advisory, I'm actually very comfortable with. I was just thinking maybe if there's like somebody would come in the coaching business, something like the chart of accounts, would there be anything different, that kind of thing? And like the questions with that, is that something that I could ask the tribe with? Like, is that a normal thing to ask or?
You can, absolutely. The other thing that you can do inside the tribe is that's where you guys have got the opportunity to create. Like Taryn reached out the other day and she said, I feel like I've got technical questions on systems audit. And I said, okay, that's not in the scope of the program, but go into the tribe and literally say, I feel like I need help with technical on systems audit. Who wants to jump in a room and powwow it? I mean, there's nothing to stop you guys creating a separate section, which is technical support for tribe. And I mean, someone could even look at running a session on a weekly or monthly basis. So I think you would find there will be, especially in the startup space, but yeah, nothing to stop you doing that. The tribe is there for you guys to network and use. Yeah.
Thank you.
Fantastic. Let me check the chat. Fantastic. So not familiar with the difference between technical bookkeeper versus bookkeeper. Oh, yeah, Sandra, if you're still here, feel free to come off mute too and we can powwow. I probably just mean technically skilled because with bookkeeping, sometimes it's not defined well. So what I like to say is in those kind of roles, you've got admin and then you've got accounts, like an accounts clerk. And then you've got bookkeeper. Now, a bookkeeper is a double entry accounting technician. So a bookkeeper works with a double entry accounting methodology because double entry accounting says we have two sides to every transaction. So one side, for example, is the debit and the credit. So let's say I go out and I buy a computer, then the debit is the expense and the credit is I now owe the computer shop for that, or, I paid for it. So you've got the debit and the credit. So double entry accounting technician. I know for me, I started out in heavy duty business operations. I've done a lot of admin. I've done really heavy duty accounts payable and receivable. But the truth is early on, I hadn't done true double entry accounting bookkeeping. So I went and did my Cert 4 and I began to learn about that. And it was like, mind blowing. Because bookkeeping is double entry accounting. And usually if we have a basis in admin and accounts, we've got a really great foundation to then kind of level up our learning.
Okay, thank you.
I love all that nerdy stuff. But I have to say, when I was learning double entry accounting, honestly, it was like, I couldn't get it. I get it. That's kind of how my brain works. I know, it was just like business operations though. I am a duck to water. I think I've got a high problem solving IQ. I'm not like the smartest person in the world. My father says I'm relentless. I feel like I'm the same kind of smarts as the average bookkeeper, but I wouldn't say that I found double entry accounting easy. I found it hard. The thing is, the skills and experience required to run a successful business are vastly different to that required to be a good bookkeeper. So the best bookkeeper in the world may not ever run a successful bookkeeping practice. So we need to be able to wear the business owner hat. And then if we're going to do the bookkeeping work, we need to be technically skilled. But my tribe members learned that the smart bookkeeper actually recruits bookkeepers who are better than them, kind of thing. All right. Well, that was so fun. Thank you so much, everyone who came along. Thank you for being interactive. I had lots of fun today. Please feel free to reach out to us by email, hello@thestrategicbookkeeper.global. See you. Okay, my friend, now it is time to take action. So
What are you going to do with what you learned today? The way I see it, you've got two options. You can go it alone to try and save some money, or you can back yourself and go for it and join my tribe. And let me tell you, we are knocking it out of the ballpark. That's not a sales pitch. That is me serving you, dare I say, courageously. To find success, I 100% know you need the mechanics, which is like the keys to the kingdom, but you also need to get your mindset right and be super productive. And these are all things I help you with inside the program. I could go on about this forever because I really want this for you. Have a prosperous week, and I'll see you in the next episode.